Looking for the best NFL Sunday bets for NFL Week 4? Coming off a very profitable Week 3, we look to do it again. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of IDP Plus Bets. That is right, folks. I'm your host, the DGen Doc, and this is what we do here. We give out some winners, we give out some bangers. Last week, we went 3 for 6, which you might be like, okay, but that includes a +2 +190 bets, almost 2-1, and a 425. That is right, a 4-1 and 2 2-1s. Very, very profitable week. If you're betting, as I always recommend, 1 unit per bet, you're up. Look, hey, so quick math there. So we went positive, let's see, 4 plus 4 there, 8. So you kind of minus that out there, minus the 3, 5 units, up 5 units from NFL Week 3. So we will definitely take that here on the prop show, and we're going to continue on. So for those joining just this week, NFL Week 4, I'm giving out my 6 favorite NFL bets. These are prop bets. These are guys that I'm targeting, whether due to injury or situation or just things are lining up. The stars are aligning for these players. So without further ado, let's kick it off. Let's get it started. We're going to start with a Texans wide receiver who may be the only skill possession left on the field there. That's Stefon Diggs, wide receiver Stefon Diggs, over 5.5 receptions at +105 there. Look, I mentioned it, but no Joe Mixon, no Tank Dell, no Damian Pierce. Nico Collins just picked up a hamstring injury, late add to the injury report. Never a good sign for a player, if they pick something up during practice, especially late in the week. Nico Collins to get 6 receptions, Stefon Diggs to get 6 receptions, I think is very easy. Again, there's no Tank Dell for sure. You might have a limited, if not Nico Collins at all. So he gets kind of slots into that wide receiver 1 role, and he's going up against Jacksonville defense that is very porous. They're missing their star linebacker, Foye Oluokun, in the middle. They're coming off a loss where they just got embarrassed. That defense is not very good. Look for CJ Stroud to dice them up, and look for Stefon Diggs to be the beneficiary of that. Again, I think he very easily gets to 6 receptions. He had double-digit targets last week when Tank Dell went out. So, I think that even if Collins does play, I like this. But if Collins doesn't play, I think they're going to have to feed Stefon Diggs. And he is used to kind of being in that wide receiver 1 role. I think he delivers there. Give me his over 5.5 receptions at +105. Next guy up here, it's kind of another perfect injury situation plus team they're playing here. Najee Harris, Pittsburgh Steelers running back, over 70.5 rush yards at +125. Hey, look, Jaylen Warren, he was dealing with the hamstring, and then they kind of picked something up last week. Mike Tomlin pulled him from the game. He got an MRI on his knee. They didn't give us the results, but he hasn't practiced yet. He seems very unlikely to play. So it's going to be Najee Harris, and it's going to be Cordero Patterson coming out of the backfield for some receiving work, some spelling work there. But don't get it twisted. Najee Harris is the bell cow. He's also going up against the Indianapolis Colts defensive line. No DeForest Buckner. Kwity Paye has not practiced yet. They're beat up in the secondary. This team is very beat up, and they're very porous against the run. We saw what Green Bay did to them a couple weeks ago. If the Chicago Bears could run the ball worth a damn, they would have had more success. The Colts are very susceptible on the ground. The Steelers play a great defense. I expect the Steelers to be ahead in this game. I expect them to pound the rock. Let's not forget, Arthur Smith is still the guy calling the plays there. So give me Najee Harris over 70.5 rush yards at +125. Next up, we are heading out to Arizona, and we are talking about none other than the rookie, Marvin Harrison Jr., over 70.5 receiving yards at +125 there for him. This is a situation where Marvin Harrison Jr. is now the leading wide receiver in this game for this Arizona Cardinals team. Kyler Murray and him seem to have that connection. We saw what he did. I mean, he hit this very easily in the first quarter when they were playing against the Rams there. Now the Cardinals, they have a matchup with another terrible, terrible defense, and that's the Washington Commanders. We saw what Jamar Chase just did to them. Malik Neighbors put it on them. I mean, every week, this is this is the worst secondary in the NFL. Absolutely keep targeting them. And you want to talk about big plays. Marvin Harrison Jr., man, he has the opportunity to have massive big plays, right? He doesn't need, I'm not going after reception tiers. I mean, this could be 2 catches for him over 70.5 yards, maybe 3, call it 3, whatever. But I think he's going to get behind this defense because let's be honest, everybody has. And, the Cardinals, after getting a pretty good win there in week 2, they've kind of fluttered a little bit and they need to they're back at home. They're playing in a dome. And I think they're going to get Marvin Harrison Jr. going. So give me his over 7.5 receiving yards at plus 125. All right, folks, that's 3 bets in, which means we are halfway through, which means it's ad time. That's right, folks. Hey, IDP Plus, man. If you like what you're hearing, if we've got a ton, both offense, defense, fantasy, betting, we've got it all. If it's football, we are talking about it. So you want to make sure you start the season right with your IDP Plus subscription. 20% off any subscription for a limited time with promo code PROPS. Get access to our tools, data, IDP Plus articles, and don't miss out on our subscriber Discord as well. Look, I also do an article for them where I look at the biggest injuries for the week and then relate it to IDP Fantasy. So if you play IDP Fantasy or if you like defensive props, that is an article for you. I'll give you a little teaser there. 3 linebackers, 3 offensive lines that I'm targeting that are very beat up and leave a lot of opportunity. All right. Also, of course, at IDP Plus, we love giving you promos because we love giving you money and we love giving you winners. And we don't discriminate. We've got a code for both Fanduel at idpplus.com/Fanduel that gets you $50 in bonus bets when you deposit just $10. And then in DraftKings, get $50 in bonus bets when you deposit $50. That's idpplus.com/DraftKings. Those will be in the description there. All right, folks, let's keep it rolling. We got 3 more plays here. And hey, I usually like to be an overs guy. I like to root for some guys, but I got a couple plays where I'm going to be a little bit of a hater here. And the first game is back to that Pittsburgh Steelers game against the Indianapolis Colts. I'm going Jonathan Taylor under 65.5 rushing yards at plus 135. Look, the way Taylor is running, this is definitely a risky play, but I think that the Colts are going to need to pass a lot in this game. I really do like the Pittsburgh Steelers this week. The Colts are very decimated on defense. The Steelers, although Jaylen Warren is likely going to be out, they're likely getting back Isaac Sayamulu, the starting guard that was starting the year, even though he's filled in nice. The backups have filled in nicely there. I do like the Steelers in this game. The Steelers are one of the best rush defenses in the NFL. And it seems at time that Stan Steichen and that offense, they just forget about Jonathan Taylor, where he simply doesn't get the carries. So I think this is a game where they go down a couple touchdowns. AR-15 tries to make some plays against Micah Fitzpatrick and TJ Watt, leads to a turnover, 14-point deficit, and they're just throwing the ball a bunch, which they should definitely not do. But I think it's a mix of Steelers have a really good run defense, and game script-wise, I think that the Colts, like they have before, are going to forget about Jonathan Taylor a little bit. All right. So that's Taylor under 65.5 rushing yards at plus 135. Another guy I'm going to be fading, and it's going to be Mr. Garrett Wilson. Garrett Wilson is the number 1 wide receiver for the Jets. The problem is the man he's going up against this week shuts down wide receiver number 1s, and that is Pat Surtain for the Denver Broncos there. He just shut down Mike Evans. I mean, look, Garrett Wilson has been getting his catches. He's been getting his touchdowns, but he's really struggled in the yardage department. Only 150 yards on the year, only averaging about 50 yards. Christian Gonzalez held him pretty in check, and I think Pat Surtain is the best cornerback in the NFL. So I don't mind the Jets in this game, but I think even they're 7.5-point favorites. So that tells me, hey, they're probably going to be playing with the lead. How much do we need to be throwing the ball? So why throw at Pat Surtain if you don't have to? I think they're going to be able to have some success in the run game with Breece Hall. Alex Singleton, the linebacker for the Denver Broncos, leading tackler, he's out for the season with the ACL. I think the rush game is how the Jets attack the Broncos. So give me Garrett Wilson under 45.5 receiving yards at plus 155. And then finally, my splash play of the week here, Xavier Leggett, 60-plus receiving yards, plus 340. Look, folks, I know what you're saying. Hey, he must be crazy. Well, gave out Tutu Atwell 50-plus receiving yards, and that cashed with ease at plus 425. So we're going back to another player that's got big play potential. You got Andy Dalton, the Red Rifle, returning. He's playing the Cincinnati Bengals. It's a revenge game for him. He's going to be hyped. Adam Thielen, wide receiver number 2, out on IR. He's on IR with the hamstring injury there. So I think Xavier Leggett slots in that offense. He's a big play wide receiver. Last week he averaged 20 yards a catch. He only had 2 of them, but hey, 1 more catch and he's at that 60 yards. So give me Xavier Leggett, 60-plus receiving yards at plus 340. All right, folks, those are my 6 best bets for NFL Week 4. Quick recap here. Stefon Diggs, over 5.5 receptions at plus 105. Najee Harris, over 70.5 rushing yards at plus 125. Marvin Harrison Jr., over 70.5 receiving yards at plus 125. Jonathan Taylor, under 65.5 rush yards at plus 135. Garrett Wilson, under 45.5 receiving yards at plus 155. And Xavier Leggett, 60-plus receiving yards at plus 340. All right, folks. Hey, those are my best bets. Good luck if you're tailing, and if you're failing, or you're fading, then you're failing. There you go. All right, folks, from the DJ Doc and IDP Plus Bets, I am out of here.
Thank you for watching the IDP Plus YouTube network. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Be sure to tap the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload new content.